Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today's show, ladies and gentlemen, is Brain Injury Association of Michigan. Hurry back and join us. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today's show, ladies and gentlemen, is Brain Injury Association of Michigan, and we have the president and CEO himself, Tom Constand. Good day, Tom.
Good day. How are you?
Glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of people out here that have gone through a lot of suffering for certain reason about brain injuries, and they're not sure. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the Brain Injury Association of Michigan?
Absolutely. And it's not surprising to hear that, because the brain injuries are known as the invisible injury. You can't see it many times, but it affects people emotionally, physically, cognitively. The Brain Injury Association of Michigan is an organization that's been around since 1981 that serves as the conduit organization, the link between some 200,000 individuals living in the state of Michigan currently with a brain injury, and this vast and deep rehabilitative network of facilities, of programs and professionals that we're so fortunate to have here in the state. We serve as the conduit in between. We have 20 chapters and support groups around the state that meet on a monthly basis on a grassroots level, working with people with brain injuries and helping them re-engage into their respective communities, if you will.
Okay. Now, so you're the president and CEO.
I am.
Okay.
I am. I was, for many years, representing the Brain Injury Association in public relations. And like so many people in the nonprofit world, the particular affliction affected my family. And in 2010, my wife and I got the call that said, your son has been in an accident, you need to come up here. And so all of a sudden, we were in the car on a 3.5-hour white knuckle drive up I-75 to see my son. And the first call that I made was to my client, the Brain Injury Association. Okay. And the safety net that is the Brain Injury Association began to unveil itself and manifest itself to me. And long story short, a week and a half later, when my son was being discharged to come downstate, the nurse said, you have a number of different rehabilitation facilities to choose from. In Grand Rapids, you have Mary Free Bed, you have Hope Network, you have Spectrum Health. In Lansing, you have Origami. In Detroit, and it turned out I knew everything that she was telling me because I was representing the association. And at the end of the day, we had 3 rehabilitation facilities within 40 minutes of my house. And I realized that if we lived in any other state, they don't have that kind of resource.
Wow.
And so in Ohio or Indiana, we might have been driving 4.5 hours away from my son's rehabilitation. That was 3 days a week, 4 hours a day. So that's what I mean about we're so fortunate here in Michigan to have all of the facilities and resources here that we do have. And it unveiled itself to me. And as I said, my client became my cause. And
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, tell us some of the types of brain injuries people may sustain.
Sure. People know now the phrase traumatic brain injury. They know the acronym TBI. They didn't know that about 10 years ago because of all of the publicity and awareness obtained through 2 things. One, concussions in the NFL and the discovery of chronic traumatic encephalopathy about 12 years ago, or 12, 13 years ago. The second thing was the discovery of our veterans sustaining traumatic brain injuries through improvised explosive devices that were buried in the highways along the roadsides in Iraq and Afghanistan. And so those 2 things were kind of the twin towers of public awareness that served to create this larger awareness of traumatic brain injury. But acquired brain injury is really the larger subset. Acquired brain injury are things like stroke, which Dan Gilbert recently suffered and is undergoing continuous rehabilitation for. a tumor. Those are examples of an acquired brain injury. The largest subset of those is traumatic brain injury. And a traumatic brain injury is a sudden blow or jolt to the head that disrupts the normal function of the brain. That's the definition. So under that category, you have concussions, you have falls, you have auto accidents, you have all different, you have a slip and fall on the ice right now. You go out to your car, slip and fall, hit your head. 6 months later, you realize, I can't smell or taste anything. You may have sustained a brain injury. You need to go and get that checked out.
And a lot of people feel as though when they slip and fall, oh, I just hurt my back, just hurt my my behind, but but they forgot about they hit their head.
Right. How many years did we hear in sports and in football especially? Oh, he just got his bell rung. He's just a bump on the head. He'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Not so. We know that to be the case now. So parents are taking a more active role in their child's safety when it comes to concussions, and that's a good thing.
Now, do you guys have any involvement with the new laws that are going into effect for the auto claims? Because
we do.
I'm looking at it like this. If you're saying that, half some of our injury percentage, what percentage of our Michiganians suffer a brain injury?
There's about 30% of all traumatic brain injuries that occur from an auto accident. And so there's about 18,000 people right now that are currently in the auto no-fault care system. They're receiving some type of auto no-fault care for that. We all know that auto insurance has become too high, far too high, and especially in Detroit. It's obscene what auto insurance rates have become.
It is.
But people too quickly put the blame on no-fault insurance. No-fault insurance represents an incredible standard of rehabilitative care that is found nowhere else in the country. It provides you immediate access to the care that you need for as long as you need it, for as long as necessary. And so what that means is if you do get in an auto accident, you get immediate access and you're covered. That's not going to happen come this July and next July when auto laws change now and we have choices.
Right.
Now, choices at first blush is a good thing, right? We live in America, we are free to choose.
Oh, yeah.
But how do you know the choice that's right for you when it comes to an auto accident? The only criteria you use is price. And so you're going to choose the lowest price, which is the absolute wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
So in July, people will have a choice of a $250,000 cap, a $500,000 cap, or the unlimited cap. And we encourage people, know what you're doing, shop wisely, and buy unlimited so you don't lose that care.
Wow.
Because, but for the grace of God, for you and I, if we go out that door and run through and somebody runs a red light and broadsides us and we have an injury, we need that care.
I should hope what Michiganians do is stay the same, but we can't, we can't guarantee that. But I tell you what, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have some very good more information about brain injury. So hurry back and join us.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
And welcome back to the second half of the show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just not joining us, get your pen and paper out. I always tell you, you learn something new every time you tune in to Just Ask. So definitely, if you have questions for our guests, call us 1-800-323-5336, 1-800-323-5336, hashtag Just Ask Talk Show, or go to the website, justasktalkshow.org. Now, anytime you get the president himself to come in and tell you what goes on in an agency or organization or whatever, a chamber, then you got somebody here that's telling you firsthand what you need to know. If you're not sure, you can always call them directly, or we're going to ask you for a phone number in an email. I'm sorry, so we need that. Okay, so without further ado, a lot of you are at home and you have a family member who have sustained a brain injury and you're lacking in information and in resources. So today, the president himself, Tom Constand, is here with us to give us some information and resources. So always remember, if you have a question for our guests, send it to me. We'll forward it to them. Thank you.
The first thing I'm going to tell you
Okay.
is the phone number.
Sure.
Okay? If you want to call our office and ask for an information and resource specialist, the number is 810-229-5880. Call that number. That's directly to the Brain Injury Association of Michigan and ask for an information and resource specialist. And we have two people that are happy to take your call and will spend as long as they need to on the phone with you to make sure that you have the information that you need, and then we'll follow up with you to make sure that you employ the information we gave you.
Can I get that phone number again?
810-229-5880.
Okay, and is there a website?
There absolutely is, and
Okay.
that's BIAMI.org. Again, BIAMI.org. I tell people that's Miami with a B.
Okay.
So
Okay, well, all right.
right,
And in
easy to
terms, it's
remember.
brain injury. Okay. All right. Okay, so
the other one I want to give you, though, is because I want to go back and talk a little bit more, if we can, about auto insurance.
oh, most definitely.
This is the most critical issue that we have facing our community, and not just the brain injury community, but I'm talking 7 million licensed drivers in the state of Michigan that come July, their insurance is going to change dramatically. And while it might be good to have choice, you need to know that you have a choice in Russian roulette as well. All right, and you don't want to play that game here.
Okay.
You want to choose the coverage that's right for you, and the coverage that's right for you, as I said before, is that unlimited coverage. People don't know, especially our seniors, who there's a fourth option that's available come July, and that is $50,000 with Medicare.
Okay.
And people might think, especially people over 65, and I'm a year away from that, thinking, okay, I already have Medicare coverage. Why do I have to double insure myself with no fault? It's because you're not covered under Medicare to the degree that you are under no fault. The insurance is not the same. So things that I mentioned before, physical therapy, occupational therapy, job loss, wage loss, those kinds of things that are covered under no fault are not covered with Medicare.
When you make that selection.
So you need to educate yourself.
Yeah.
And we are participating in town hall meetings across the state right now, urging citizens to come to these town hall meetings and taking down the information that we're imparting at these town hall meetings to tell you what you need to know about auto insurance.
But you know what? A lot of things, like we were fighting so hard to get the change for the highest paid insurance. I mean, everybody who comes from a different state say, you're kidding. You pay that much for insurance? In other states, they're like, we only pay $100. We only pay $50. So when they put it on the table for discussion, it still didn't come out right.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
And at the beginning of the year, last year, the year started out fine, and that we were working with members of the legislature, and the legislature actually formed separate committees to address this critical issue. And there was no one that was against bringing auto insurance rates down. Everybody agreed they were far too high, but there were certain reasons for that. Unfortunately, about halfway through the year, the process played out where a bill was revealed and voted on in the middle of the night at 2:30 in the morning. And the legislature, by and large, the rank and file members of the legislature had about an hour and a half to read a 128-page bill. And they were told that you need to vote for this because if you don't, you're going to lose your stature here in the legislature. So under pressure and threat, this thing unveiled itself.
Now, will there be classes or will there be, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be literature, but somehow people need to understand this way before July.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
And, you know, so I mean, is there, and you say town
These
hall
are the
meetings.
town hall meetings that are occurring right now. I would also advise people to go to MichiganAutoInsurancePromise.com. That's MIAutoInsurancePromise.com. And there's all sorts of information there that you can use to educate yourself with on insurance, on the different kinds of options available to you and what those options mean.
I'm going to have to look into that, Tom, because even
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that. And I had a auto accident, a hit and run, and it was just horrible, you know. And if it wasn't for the fact that I was fully covered, you know, I think my care would have been less.
It would have been, and that's what people don't understand. People most of us think this is not going to happen to me.
Oh yeah.
I can't tell you how many people I've met who sustained an auto accident that were on the other side of this issue before their accident, saying, we've got to lower auto insurance rates. I'm not going to get in an accident, so I'm going to take that chance and buy the lower rate and just get what I get, because it'll never happen to me. And bam, it happens, and your world changes, as you know.
What would you say is the percentage rate or the number of Michiganians who suffer closed head injuries from an auto accident?
From an auto accident, on a percentage basis, 30% of the people that sustain injuries every year in Michigan, and that's some 58,000, sustain it through an auto accident. So it's the second leading cause behind falls, and falls among the elderly especially. Yeah, that's the number one cause. Number two is auto accidents.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, so I'm kind of wondering, how did they pass this law that motorcycle riders don't have to wear a helmet? I'm you know, this has been
That's
years.
another thing, and we were on the front lines for that as well. But it was because of the notion of choice. Michigan, it believes very strongly in choice, and I understand that. But what we tell people is that you need to choose wisely, and it's a slippery slope
But
when you talk about an auto accident.
Who made a
knows?
decision like that? I mean, you can hit a pebble in the road, you can hit a pothole in the road, you can run over a cat,
I know.
Run into a deer,
And there's
you don't
example
have a
after
helmet
example
on.
of state after state after state that used to have a helmet law, that took their helmet law away, and immediately accidents, deaths, injuries, and hospitalization costs skyrocketed.
Right. Some people look at it like, I want to be free when I'm riding my bike. I want the wind to blow in my hair. But all the things that can cause an accident, we're not trying to say it's going to be that person, but if it happens, the result is devastating.
No, the result is devastating. And the result in particular, and this sounds very harsh, but if someone passes away, there is a finality. As much as everybody grieves at the loss of a loved one, and of course you do, it's about $12,000 for the burial, and sooner or later everybody closes ranks and you move on with your life. That's just the way things are. With something as severe as a traumatic brain injury, a catastrophic traumatic brain injury, that hell lasts forever. And it impacts you, and it impacts your family, emotionally, physically, financially. The number one cause of bankruptcy in this country is bankruptcy from medical bankruptcy, from not being able to pay your medical bills. And that's what now we've opened up the door to here in Michigan with the changes to the no-fault law. So the good news is that we've talked with the legislature, and they realize that there are some aspects of the law that are not perfect. They recognize that. And so we're working with them to correct that. But again, the biggest thing that people need to know is they have to educate themselves between now and July to know what to know what to buy.
Okay. Now, see, you told us so much, but I had this particular question. Tell us some of the resources that you're.
You bet.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, but you know what? No, you were so good at, the history of understanding about brain injury. It's just overwhelming, but it needs to be told.
It is overwhelming. There are so many different kinds of brain injuries, and the thing to remember that as many brain injuries as there are, they say if you know one person with a brain injury, you know one person with a brain injury. Brain injuries are all different. No two brain injuries are alike, and brain injuries do not discriminate. Doesn't matter how old you are, where you come from, it could happen like that from a whole array of different circumstances.
And that's when families are starting to look for stuff. They're starting to look for resources. Who do I talk to? Where do I go?
That's when to come to us. That's when to call that number that I told you before, 810-229-5880, and call us, and we can provide you with information. The booklet that I provided today.
Oh, we're going to talk about this booklet.
That booklet is full of information for people who are just experiencing the travesty of a brain injury and who know nothing about it, don't know where to go, where to turn to. This book provides you with answers, and it's a wonderful book for those who are just getting into the world of brain injury.
So let me ask you this. Now, if a person sustained a brain injury, is the hospitals, do they give the same information out, or are you guys affiliated with all the hospitals?
We're not affiliated with all yet, although that's on our goal. We have this information is available in select hospitals across the state. We want to make sure that it's available in all hospitals and included in the packet with the discharge planner. So when the individual leaves the hospital, that discharge planner makes sure that they have information on brain injury.
You know what? Because I think when a person is always glad to go home, family members are always saying, "Be glad to take you home," but they have no idea what they're getting ready to get into.
Right.
So if they don't have before discharge the plan, the discharge plan, and some of the accommodations in the home, okay, and the staff that's going to be there, PT, OT, and all that.
Whether it's in the home, whether it's at a rehab facility,
Right.
at a place like Special Tree or Eisenhower or Rainbow or the myriad of other organizations, Hope Network, the ones that I was mentioning before, that we're so fortunate to have here in Michigan. If they're discharged there, there's a whole nother plan that they get. They have a case manager usually that works with them that kind of rides point on that care to make sure that they have everything all arranged for them. That's vitally important. Unfortunately, because this is the invisible injury, some people are discharged with the cast on their broken arm, the cast on their broken leg, and the undiagnosed brain injury that doesn't manifest itself until like 6 months later, 8 months later, when the spouse says, "Honey, you're not well, you're not right, you're not you. You're angry, you're depressed, you can't taste your food, you lash out. I'm married to a different person, or this is a different spouse than I knew before." And it's only then that they realize we're going to go back in and get checked. And that's when the brain injury gets diagnosed. And what's most important with the brain injury, because it's like a cable cut, is that the more immediate the treatment is, the more immediate the access is to that care, the more likely you will have an optimal level of recovery. The longer you delay that treatment, the less optimal the chances of recovery are.
Okay, well, hold that thought, Tom, and we'll be right back with some more good information. We'll be right back.
If you love them enough to do this, surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
And welcome back to the last half of the show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just not tuning in, you know I always tell you, you're going to want these phone numbers as well as the websites, because some of you have family members, friends, neighbors, all that, even coworkers who have sustained a closed head injury of some sort, and you may want to provide this information for them. So we're going to ask Tom to give us that email and the website and the phone number.
And the phone number?
Yes.
Sure, absolutely. The phone number is 810-229-5880, and the website is biami.org.
Okay. Now, I want to bring this book up because, and I appreciate you bringing this book. This is a nice, healthy, thick book. So tell us what we get in this book.
It's exactly what it says. It's a practical guide for families who are just experiencing the trauma of brain injury as a family. They have a loved one that sustained an injury. Where do I go? Who do I talk to? What do I do now? What process do I follow? And that book guides you along the way. It's the best thing that we can refer.
Okay, so someone can call?
They can call the office? Sure. I would urge anyone that is going through this experience to call our office. We can provide you with that information.
Okay, and this lovely brochure here.
That lovely brochure tells you about the work of the association, who we are, what we do, and who we serve, and how we serve them.
Okay.
So
you can get this in the mail too.
Absolutely.
Okay. So a person can call, or they can go to the website www.biami.org.
Right, or our Facebook page at Brain Injury Association of Michigan.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Who's not on Facebook?
I know,
okay.
everybody.
Oh, no, that's wonderful, because we need to know. Somebody may watch the program and, didn't catch the spelling, you didn't catch the website, and they say, wow, and then they can look you up on Facebook.
Facebook, that breathes every day. Okay. There's all information on there.
All right. So now I see we have some coupons here. Is this a coupon?
We do. That's a coupon for our newest program called Think Ahead, and that is a injury prevention program designed to incentivize kids of all ages to wear their helmets when they engage in individual recreational activities.
Think Ahead.
In this case, that coupon is for skiing and snowboarding, and that allows people. The Ski Patrol has those coupons with them, and if they catch you skiing or snowboarding and you're not wearing your helmet, they're going to give you one of those, and that's good for 20% off the purchase of a ski helmet at 24 different ski retail outlets that are all listed on the back of that across the state. So it's a great program. And then when the summer comes, we'll get into bikes and in the distribution of bike helmets through our Lids for Kids program, which occurs in Grand Rapids, Lansing, and Traverse City, and that'll be coming up in April and May.
Okay.
And then soon after that, we will look to introduce Lids for Kids in the Detroit area as well. Southeast
Wonderful.
Michigan.
To me, no place is off limits because, hey, there's kids everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And there's
They're of
people,
all ages.
Right. So if somebody's like, I got to go to Grand Rapids to get a coupon or something, but they can call.
Oh, yeah, they can call.
Okay,
Sure,
okay.
absolutely.
And then one thing I didn't ask, what is you guys' mission? What's the mission of the brain injury?
We exist to provide, essentially to provide early, equal, and adequate access to care for all persons with brain injury, to lower the barriers to care. That's the biggest chasm that we have between those with a brain injury and that island of care that's over here, is how do we provide access to that island of care? And that's what No Fault provided before. So, but now we face the same situation the rest of the country faces in terms of the access to care and the gap in treatment for care. Okay. And I think personally that where we're going as a brain injury association, we can do better, and we need to work with the resources that we have across this state to come together and come up with a better way. Be it for auto accidents, be it for stroke, be it for a fall, all kinds of catastrophic injury. Right. Where somebody is permanently injured and they require lifelong care.
That's true. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And we really want to encourage the viewers to participate in the town hall meetings in reference to the insurance changes.
That's correct. We're having town hall meetings in the Detroit area. You can go to our website and find out where those town hall meetings are, or you can go to miautoinsurancepromise.com, the site that I mentioned before.
Okay.
They're the ones that are spearheading it. The other group is called CPAN, the Coalition Protecting Auto No Fault, cpan.org.
CPAN, okay.
So any one of those three sites, go there and you can get the information on when that town hall meeting is coming to a town near you.
And we need to post those on the credit roll, so we'll have that.
Wonderful.
So if a person, can they write to their legislator?
That's the biggest thing. If you want to do something as an individual, if you've heard this information and say, wait a minute, this is not right, we need to fix this no-fault reform and make it better. Call your state legislature, whether they be a representative or senator, and call the governor's office too, or write them and let them know you want them to fix the fix. Fix no fault.
Okay. And that's an important matter on the table. I don't think that people quite understand what's going to happen in July.
The most unfortunate thing for people who did this because they thought their auto insurance was going to come down significantly, it's not.
Right.
Unfortunately, what we've seen. It's going to come down somewhat. There'll be some savings for people. Will it come down to make it affordable for people in Detroit, for people in Flint, for people in Saginaw, for people in Benton Harbor? No. That's the unfortunate thing. We've got to do better. We've got to do better.
I think the fight was not right. We were fighting for lower premiums, but it still didn't come out right.
We fought just to get it up and running.
Right.
And we put up this shell game that is going to not provide people with good choices.
Right, and I don't know why we didn't go to other states and model their policies.
Well, we were on that path, but then someone decided that they were going to do it in May and do it in time for the Mackinac Policy Conference and have everybody look good, and we changed no fault, and we fixed it. Well, no.
Who was that mean person? Okay.
There's a lot we have to go a lot further.
Okay, well, definitely, keep us posted.
I will.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I really enjoyed having Tom Constand today from Closed Injury Association of Michigan. I mean,
the Brain Injury Association.
I'm sorry, did I say Closed Injury? I'm sorry, Brain Injury. I'm having a fall. Okay. Brain Injury Association of Michigan. Okay, because a lot of you are at home and you do have family members who have sustained some type of closed head injury or brain injury, and you want some resources or some, help in getting your loved one taken care of. Go to our website, look at the bottom of the screen here, as well as go to the credits, and also look, for Tom's information about calling them and seeing if you can get some resources. I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask, and what do I always say? If you know a person with a disability or if you just have a general question, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host. Thank you.